There were three Vedas which are believed to have always existed and were apprehended by the great rishis or sages in deep meditative states. These three Vedas are Rig, Yajur, and Sam. A fourth Veda was added later by a great rishi called Atharvan. The Vedas are the religious texts which informs the followers of Hinduism or Sanatan Dharma the fundamental knowledge about our existence. In verses 2.42 through till 2.47, Lord Sri Krishna informs Arjun that many greedy people who are filled with desires for worldly pleasures, wealth, and power were mesmerized by the sweet flowery speeches about the Vedas. These same greedy people indulge in many rituals to gain such wealth and power without realizing that all the rituals they perform will only gain them a temporary trip to and back from the heavens. They will still be unable to break free from the cycle of death and rebirth. Death, rebirth, as well as living is not easy. Ask yourself, are you scared of dying? Most people might not be. Most young people might not be. But as you grow old, and when you see the death of someone you knew, a friend, probably a neighbor or a relative, the thought of how, when, where will I die, or I am lucky to be still alive, must have crossed your mind. But as soon as you get back from the cremation or the burial ceremony, you just forget about how scary death is and get back to your normal life. What about the pain of being born? None of us ever think about that. A child stays in the womb for 9 months, and being born is a very painful process, even though we don't remember it. Then comes the pain of living, because life does not simply consist of existing from birth to death. It is like a roller coaster ride in which we experience moments of joy, sorrow, pain, and pleasure. It is filled with the ups and downs of successes and failures. Despite the hardships, we strive to achieve our desires, absorb the joy of our successes, and learn from the painful memories that come with our failures. I have not given you any exercises for the past few lessons. I'm sure you must be posting the other exercises in your journal. Now you must write down your most joyous and your most sad memories in your journal and reflect on them. Would you like to be reborn and go through the never ending cycle of pain and misery and remain being tied to this mortal realm for eternity? Or would you like to break free from this vicious cycle of death, rebirth, and living and experience eternal bliss? Many novices embarking on the spiritual path find themselves faced with an enormous task of navigating the complex and intricate maze of the Vedas. It can be a daunting prospect to decipher such an ancient and vast body of knowledge. Fortunately, with dedication and persistence, they can find a deep understanding of spirituality in Shrimad Bhagavad Gita, which provides an invaluable insight into the divine. guided by the Supreme Lord Himself. In verse 2.44, Lord says that the ones who are mesmerized by the greed for wealth and power are only interested in fulfilling their desires, instant gratifications, and going to heaven. They are not interested in knowing the divine. In verse 2.45, Lord clearly mentions that Vedas only addresses the three traits of nature, which are sattva, rajas, and tamas. You will learn about these three traits in the upcoming chapters. Then Lord says that we must rise above these three traits of nature and from the contradictions of joy and sorrow, success and failure, and also rise above competing and possessiveness and strive for being rooted in spirituality and self-control. Lord does not threaten us with damnation, but appeals to our intellect. We all have free will and intelligence, allowing us to understand what is proper and what is improper, which is why we coexist as a society. However, those who lack spirituality and self-control indulge in immoral and unruly behavior, such as harming others, destroying property, looting, arson, rape, murder, and other antisocial behavior. Every human has the same kind of brain, but the antisocials think differently because they lack spirituality and self-control. In verse 2.46, Lord says that Vedas compared to Geeta is like a small pond compared to a vast ocean. And what use is a small pond to someone who possesses this vast ocean of knowledge that is Geeta? Would you rather carry your smartphone or carry 15 different gadgets that it has replaced? Would you spend months sailing from one part of the world to the other or fly there in a matter of hours? The choice is yours. You can spend decades learning and deciphering Vedas or learn, remember, and practice Gita in a few weeks. In verse 2.47, Lord says that to remain sin-free and to become a karma yogi, you must act selflessly without any expectation of a reward and neither remain inactive. Let me explain this with an example. If you see someone is hurt in an accident and you help that person with an expectation that you will be rewarded for saving that person's life, then that would be considered as selfish. And if you didn't help that person because there was no reward in doing so, then that would be considered as inaction. If you are still watching this series, then you have taken this very important step in your spiritual journey because you are on your way to becoming a karma yogi. Congratulations to you. Keep learning because knowledge will set you free. See you in the next video.